After her father's funeral, 6 days later, a millionaire revealed an incredible life-changing scheme that shocked the whole town. Emma Johnson stood frozen as the last handful of dirt fell onto her father's grave, each grain a cruel reminder of the vibrant life now buried beneath. With tears streaming down her cheeks, she felt an overwhelming wave of sorrow wash over her. The poignant cries of the gathered neighbors echoed in her ears, voices that had known her father, a humble mechanic who had dedicated his life to fixing cars and building a stronger community. She felt their love wrap around her like a heavy quilt, but it was tinged with the sting of loss. Did they know that this ache inside her would never truly go away? 6 days post-funeral, as she sat in their old creaky house surrounded by memories, the doorbell rang. She opened it to find Jake Sterling, her childhood friend whose success had sent whispers through town. He stood there, tall and affluent, dressed in designer clothes that felt out of place against the backdrop of her simple home. His gray eyes sparked with something unfamiliar. "Emma, we need to talk," he said, stepping into the space that felt increasingly like a ghost. He couldn't know the turmoil churning in her heart, a mix of admiration and resentment at how life had propelled him far beyond her small-town dreams. Yet, as they sat across from each other, Jake laid out his ambitious plan, transforming her father's old garage into a community workshop to teach local youngsters how to work with their hands and inspire their own ventures. The idea buzzed in the air, sparking conflicting feelings within her. Could her grief and shattered dreams exist alongside this wild possibility? Will people even support it? She asked, her voice shaky. This town has more ghosts of dreams than successes. As he nodded, she saw determination in his eyes. But doubts began to creep back in, fueled by her neighborhood's prior ambivalence toward change. Just when hope ignited like a flicker of flame against the darkness, word came that a rival developer was poised to snatch the property for some sterile, profit-driven enterprise. Her heart raced as the imminent danger stirred memories of her father's endless resolve, a man who knew how to fight, how to build community. But would she be able to tap into that spirit? Faced with the dual struggle of holding onto her father's legacy and standing firm against uncertainty, Emma felt the pressure mounting. Would her neighbors rise to the occasion or be shackled by fear? Just when the energy in the room was palpable, Jake leaned closer, and Emma couldn't shake an unsettling feeling of buried truths. What did she really know about her father's life? As the shadows of doubt and pressure pressed like walls closing in around her, she sensed the community rallying behind what her father stood for: hard work, perseverance, and unity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With that unmistakable community spirit awakening within her, Emma felt her father's lessons flooding back: hard work, integrity, and the heart of a fighter. Deep down, she realized she had a choice: to make this fight hers, or let her father's dream fade like a whisper. As she stood before the garage where her father had nurtured her with a wrench in one hand and a toolbox of dreams in the other, Emma stared into the murky distance, wondering if she could muster the courage to confront what lay ahead. Would her heart be pulled forth and shine? And if she dug deeper, would she uncover truths that could change not only her path but the entire community's future? The battle was on. Emma took a deep breath, inhaling the familiar scent of motor oil and dust that lingered in the garage. It was a place filled with her father's laughter, the clanging of tools, and the sound of fiddling engines. It felt like the heart of her family, and losing it would be like losing him all over again. She turned to Jake, his confident stance a stark contrast to the uncertainty swirling around her. "Why are you so invested in this?" she asked, needing to understand why he, of all people, cared so much about her father's legacy. His brows furrowed as he considered her question. "Because, Emma, I believe in what your dad created here. It's about more than just this garage. It's about community. Your father taught me so much. He gave me my first job, and when my father struggled, he helped him with car repairs without charging a dime. The sincerity in Jake's voice wrapped around her, but she couldn't shake the tension bubbling beneath the surface. What if we fail? The words tumbled from her mouth before she could hold them back. Failure loomed like a specter, haunting her every thought. She had no room in her heart for more disappointment. Jake leaned forward, his intensity palpable. But what if we don't? What if we spark something beautiful? We can't let fear of what could happen paralyze us. Your father wouldn't have. He wouldn't back down from a fight. He paused, his gaze steady on her. You need to be ready to lead this, Emma. His words ignited a flicker of hope, but it quickly dimmed as Emma looked around. Shadows stretched across the garage, a reminder of her doubt. Could she really take the helm? Her heart ached with the weight of her past. Every moment spent feeling small in a world that had grown too big. Let us hold a town meeting, Jake suggested, breaking through her turmoil. We can rally people to rally with us. If they see your passion, they might just catch fire too. Emma felt a spark of excitement then dread. Would her neighbors join her in this endeavor? The city was more divided than united these days, and trust felt like a fragile thread. Okay, a meeting, she agreed, her voice shaky but resolute. But we need to get the word out. I want everyone to see what this place means before it's too late. Jake smiled, the kind of smile that promised possibility. I'll help organize it. You just focus on sharing your father's legacy. For the first time since her father's passing, Emma felt purpose rising in her chest, but along with it came a crush of anxiety. As Jake walked out the door, Emma turned back to the empty space, letting herself imagine a gathering filled with familiar faces, sharing stories, memories, and ultimately committing to protect her father's dream. But deep down, questions gnawed at her. Would they believe in her? Would they see her father's spirit in her? Feeling the weight of choices yet to come, Emma clutched the toolbox resting on the workbench, a symbol of both her father's teachings and the potential for a new future. What if this was not just about a garage? What if it was about finally stepping into her own light? The night was heavy with quiet, the kind that seems to hold its breath. As she stood there feeling the flicker of hope and fear dance within her, she couldn't help but wonder. Could the community see her journey as their own? And who would rise to support her tale in the days to come? The next morning, Emma woke up to the sun streaming through the window, the warmth a contrast to the chill still in her bones from the night before. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts about the town meeting, her father's legacy hanging like a shadow over everything she did. She could see the garage from her kitchen window. It stood there, a fortress of memories, but it also looked weary, like it was holding its breath, waiting for life to return. Emma shook off her unease and threw on her jacket, determined to reclaim some space in her heart for hope. With coffee in hand, she stepped outside, the crisp air filling her lungs. Jake was already there, checking the old sign that hung crookedly over the entrance. It needs a fresh coat of paint, he said, tapping it lightly to let the wood dust fall. Yeah, she agreed, a smile creeping onto her face. There was something inspiring about someone believing in this place as much as she did. Can we make it bright? I wanted to catch their eye. Absolutely. Bright colors for a bright legacy. He winked as he pulled out tools from his backpack, and together they began to work, repairing the sign and cleaning up the yard. As they painted, Emma's mind raced with ideas. Maybe they could showcase car repairs every Saturday, hold barbecue fundraisers, and create a mural to honor the people who trained here. She felt the spark inside her grow into a flame. Tell me stories about my dad, she said, dipping her brush into the paint. I want to hear how he made an impact. Jake's eyes lit up, the stories pouring out of him like warm sunlight. He had this way of making people feel seen. I remember when he fixed my dad's truck, he didn't just fix the engine. He took time to talk, to listen. That's what made him special. Emma felt warmth blossom in her chest as she listened. Each story painted her father as a man of the community, someone who not only worked on cars, but on people's lives. Her heart fluttered, not just with pride but with a realization that she could carry that legacy forward. They worked well into the afternoon, laughter echoing around the garage as more memories spilled from Jake. But as the sun dipped lower, Emma felt a wisp of doubt creep back in. "Do you think they'll show up?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Jake paused, wiping paint from his hands. "If they see your passion, if they hear your father's story, the right people will." He laid a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Trust that. Make it personal. Open your heart, Emma. They'll find their way to you." That night, she sat at the kitchen table, staring at a blank page. The town meeting felt like an enormous mountain, daunting and dauntingly distant. But the stories, the colors, the energy from the day filled her mind, and she started to write. She wrote about her father's spirit, how he guided her through each step of her life. Even now, as the words flowed, she felt less like a daughter grieving and more like a leader rising to a challenge. She worked until her hands were tired, crafting every sentence to honor her father's legacy in a way that was undeniably hers. When she finally looked at the clock, her heart plummeted. It was late, and she had a long day ahead of her. But her eyes sparkled with determination. She had to share this vision, this call to arms for the community, with her neighbors. Deep down, excitement sparked at what tomorrow might bring. Could this be the beginning of something more than just saving the garage? Could it unify the community in ways she couldn't even imagine? As she drifted off to sleep, she held onto the thought tight. Tomorrow, she would stand up and face the crowd, and maybe, just maybe, they would carry her father's dream forward alongside her. But there was a larger question lingering in her mind. What would happen if the town didn't show up? How would she rise against that tide? Emma woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside, their cheerful songs beckoning her to rise. The sun already hung high in the sky, promising a beautiful day ahead. She took a moment to gather her thoughts, recalling the tasks she had set out to accomplish. Today was the town meeting, and she needed to be ready. After a quick breakfast, she pulled on her favorite sweater, one that once belonged to her father. The fabric was soft, and the faint smell of his cologne lingered in the fibers, wrapping her in a warm embrace. It felt like he was with her, urging her forward as she faced the unknown. Stepping outside, her heart raced. The garage stood in front of her, now a symbol of hope rather than just a place filled with memories. Jake was already at work, hanging the newly painted sign that boldly announced the garage's revival. "It looks amazing," Emma exclaimed, a genuine smile breaking through her nerves. "Ready for the big show?" he asked, turning to her with a grin. She took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be," she replied, though her stomach fluttered with anxiety. Emma watched as people began to trickle into the garage. Her neighbors, friends, and even some unfamiliar faces gathered, curious about what the day held. She noticed Mrs. Malone, who used to bring her cookies when she was a little girl, standing shyly at the back. Emma felt a swell of affection for the woman, remembering how much kindness surrounded her growing up. "Good turnout," Jake whispered, nudging her gently. But as the crowd grew, so did her self-doubt. What if her father's legacy wasn't enough? What if she stumbled over her words? Gathering courage, she stepped closer to the makeshift podium they had set up, glancing down at her notes nervously as her name was called. She wandered through the crowd, trying to lock eyes with familiar faces. Each one sparked a memory, reminding her of the community her father had built around this very place. Taking a moment to breathe, she wiped her palms on her jeans and approached the microphone. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice a little shaky. "I know it's been a tough time for all of us." The crowd shifted, and she caught sight of Jake giving her a thumbs up, a signal to keep going. "My dad believed in more than just fixing cars. He believed in fixing hearts and building bridges in our community. And that's why we're here today, to bring that spirit back to life." She spoke passionately about her vision, how the garage could be a hub for learning, laughter, and connection. She shared Jake's stories of her father, his laughter, and the way he made people feel valued. The words poured out of her, fueled by emotion. As she reached the end of her speech, something shifted in the crowd. People began to nod, their faces lighting up with understanding and appreciation. Emma could feel their warmth surrounding her, lifting her spirits. Then, she took a leap into vulnerability, but I can't do this alone. I need your help, your ideas, your passions. Together, we can build something that honors him and serves our community." The room fell silent for a moment, and then she heard the sound of clapping, slow at first, building into a thunderous applause. Hope surged through her chest, and tears pricked at her eyes. For the first time since her father's passing, she felt like maybe, just maybe, it was going to be okay. But as the applause died down, a figure stepped forward from the back, a tall man with an intense look. "I think you should know something about your father," he started, and Emma's heart dropped. What could he possibly say that would change everything? The weight of the moment hung thick in the air, leaving her breathless and eager for the truth. Emma's breath caught in her throat, a knot forming in her stomach as the man's voice sliced through the applause like a stone dropped in still water. She scanned the crowd, searching for familiar faces, but all she saw were a sea of curious eyes staring back at her, waiting for this stranger to reveal whatever truth he held. "Who are you?" she managed to ask, grasping for steadiness. The question emerged not only from her lips but from the depths of her uncertainty. Did he know something she didn't? "I'm Mark Thorne," he replied, his voice deep and unwavering. "Your father, he was more than you know." Her heart raced. What did that mean? How could someone like him possibly know her father's story? As he spoke, Emma felt like she was being pulled into a backstory she had never been part of, like grasping at threads of a tapestry she had yet to unravel. "Your father often helped me in ways you might not understand," Mark continued. "He saved my business, offered me advice when I was struggling. And when he learned about my plans to expand, he invested." Emma could see her father's face in her mind, the way his eyes twinkled when he'd share stories about helping others. But business investments? That wasn't the kind of help she had associated with him. She had seen the garage as a place of repair and comfort, not a stepping stone in the world of finance. "I never got the chance to thank him properly before he passed. But his legacy is all around. I'm here today because I want to help keep that legacy alive," Mark said, stepping closer. His expression softened, revealing a hint of vulnerability. "Your father taught me more than just how to fix a car. He taught me about community, about giving back. I want to invest in you, in the garage, and in your vision." The weight of his words hit her like a wave. She felt lost and confused but also challenged. Could she accept this help from a stranger who admired her father? Her mind spiraled with questions of her own. Would this truly honor her father, or would it dilute the essence of what he stood for? "Why now?" she asked, her voice steadying slightly. "Why didn't you come sooner?" Mark glanced at the crowd, then back at her. "I've been meaning to, but I lost my way after your father passed. I was too engulfed in my own pain. It took me time to realize that your father wouldn't want me mourning in silence. He would have wanted me to reach out." Silence enveloped the room as Emma processed his words. The man before her seemed sincere, a piece of her father's legacy come to life. And yet, the uncertainty of it all hung like a cloud above her. Would accepting this investment mean sacrificing the very spirit she wanted to reclaim? Just then, a voice piped up from the back. "What are you proposing?" The crowd shifted, excitement buzzing around the garage. Emma felt a pulse of energy surge through her. This could be a turning point. She could bring her father's vision to fruition, but at what cost? As the questions bounced around in her head, Emma raised her chin, determined to find clarity. "What does this investment entail?" Mark smiled, the look of hope in his eyes igniting something within her. "Let us talk about possibilities," he said, stepping even closer. "And together, let us build a future worthy of your father's memory." With every word, Emma felt the weight of her father's legacy pressing on her chest, and for the first time, a flicker of excitement erupted behind her doubt. Could this truly be a new beginning? But as she steadied her breath, ready to dive deeper into this unexpected partnership, one more thought pulled at her heart. Was she truly ready to uncover the layers of her father's past? Or would some truths be too heavy to bear? Emma shifted her weight, the energy in the garage buzzing around her like a live wire. Mark's words hung in the air, pulsating with potential and uncertainty. The crowd waited for her response, their expressions a mix of curiosity and support. She felt the weight of her father's absence, a void that was becoming painfully real as each second slipped by. "Okay, let us talk," she finally said, her voice slightly shaky but resolute. The crowd erupted with a mix of cheers and murmurs. Emma could feel their encouragement. It was a balm on her raw nerves. What was left unsaid, the uncharted territory of her father's life, loomed large in her mind. Mark stepped back, allowing her space to breathe while maintaining his connection. "I want to hear your vision for the garage, Emma. You knew your father better than anyone. What did he want this place to be?" For a moment, Emma was lost in memories. The scent of motor oil and grease, the laughter shared during long summer days spent tinkering in the garage, her father's voice guiding her through repairs. She felt that warmth pulse through her, reminding her of what they had built together. "I see this place as a community hub, a space that supports those who are struggling like he did, but also a place that fosters creativity," she blurted out, caught in the moment. "A workshop where people can learn that's what my father always believed in, teaching others." Mark nodded, visibly excited. "That's perfect. And we can actually make it happen. With the right investment, we could create a program that not only fixes cars but also helps people fix their lives, giving them skills they can use." Emma's heart raced. This idea held promise, a way to intertwine her father's legacy with her own dreams. But something tugged at her, a voice of caution whispering in the back of her mind. "But how do I know you're not just looking for a chance to profit from this?" she murmured, unsure whether to trust the glimmer of hope rising in her chest. Mark's brow furrowed, genuine hurt flashing across his face. "I understand your skepticism. I don't expect you to trust me blindly. But I'm not in this for profit. I'm here because your father meant something to me. I want to honor that legacy, not exploit it." His sincerity cut through the air, making her heart ache. A small part of her wanted to reject his offer to go it alone, but the other part recognized the opportunity before her. She didn't have to shoulder this alone. If her father had taught her anything, it was the power of community, of coming together. "I need time to think," she finally replied, her voice steadier. "This is a big decision." "Of course," Mark said, stepping back but not retreating. "I'll give you as much time as you need. But don't let fear hold you back. Your father wouldn't want that. Think about what this could mean for you, for the garage, for the community." Emma's heart raced, her mind flooded with questions. Could she really transform this space into something meaningful? Would taking this leap feel like a betrayal or a tribute to her father's memory? With a flicker of determination, she glanced around the garage, where the walls still resonated with the laughter and warmth of her father's spirit. She took a deep breath and felt a fragile thread of hope begin to weave its way through her uncertainty as the crowd continued to murmur with excitement and expectation. She realized she was standing on the precipice of a choice. Would she embrace this chance, or would she retreat into the shadows of doubt? Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket, drawing her focus. It was a message from her father's old business partner, someone she hadn't talked to in years. "Meet me. I have something important to share." The tension in her chest tightened as she stared at the screen, the world shifting around her once again. Who else held pieces of her father's past? And what secrets could change everything she thought she knew? Emma stared at her phone, the message glowing back at her like a beacon in the chaos swirling around her. Every heartbeat felt like an echo. Where had her father's old partner been during the last years of her father's life? What could be so important now? She pocketed her phone, glancing at Mark, who was engaged in a quiet conversation with a couple of community members. Their excitement was palpable. Emma felt the weight of their anticipation press against her. They were looking to her for guidance, for hope in this next chapter. But just when she thought she might step forward, doubt crept back in. What if the pieces of her father's past weren't the joyful memories she longed for? Taking a deep breath, Emma excused herself from the group and slipped outside. The crisp air filled her lungs, momentarily clearing her mind. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow across the parking lot. She could see the silhouettes of the trees in the distance, swaying gently in the evening breeze. As she walked, memories danced at the edges of her thoughts, her father's hands dirty from work, the way he loved to teach her about the engines and why they mattered. The garage had always been a sanctuary, not just for fixing cars but for repairing hearts. Her phone buzzed again, jolting her out of her reverie. It was a follow-up message from the partner. You may want to bring someone. Trust me. Her heart dropped. What could be needing the presence of another? Was this news about finances she wasn't prepared for? Or something darker that would shatter the last threads connecting her to her father? She felt torn between fear and the desperate need to uncover the truth. With her heart racing, she pulled her phone back up and quickly called Sarah, her best friend. Can you meet me? She asked, her voice a mixture of urgency and dread. I need support. Of course. What's going on? Sarah's tone shifted, laced with concern. I got a message from my dad's old business partner. I need to talk to him, but I don't want to go alone. Emma, you're not alone. I'll be right there. They arranged to meet at a small cafe nearby, a place filled with warm coffee and comforting pastries where laughs were shared and secrets whispered. As she walked into the cafe, Emma felt a bit steadier knowing Sarah would be by her side. The familiar smell of baked goods wrapped around her like a hug. Just then, she spotted her friend waving from a cozy corner booth, a reassuring smile lighting up her face. I'm so glad you're here, Emma said, sliding into the seat across from Sarah. I don't know what this meeting can lead to, but I have a feeling it's big. What do you think he'll tell you? Sarah asked, stirring her coffee thoughtfully. Emma hesitated. I'm not sure. Maybe there are secrets, things my father kept hidden. The thought made her stomach twist. What if those secrets painted her father in a light she couldn't bear? Yet, a part of her felt she had a right to know. Whatever it is, you'll face it head-on. That's who you are, Sarah said firmly, her supportive gaze grounding Emma amidst the swirl of emotions. As they sat there, sipping their drinks, Emma felt her phone buzz again. Another message from the partner. I'm waiting. Don't take too long. The urgency pulsed through her like adrenaline. This was it. Let us go, Emma said, determination settling in her bones. It was time to uncover whatever clues about her father's past were waiting for her. Leaving the cafe, she was struck by a mix of fear and courage. What awaited her could change everything she thought she knew about her father and herself. As they made their way to the meeting, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was just around the corner, ready to reveal a truth she never expected. As Emma stepped into the dimly lit office, the air felt thick with anticipation. The walls were lined with framed photographs of her father shaking hands and sharing smiles with various figures from the past. A wave of nostalgia washed over her, blending seamlessly with the anxious energy thrumming through her veins. She took a moment to focus on her breathing, feeling Sarah's reassuring presence beside her. I'm right here, Sarah whispered, squeezing Emma's arm. You've got this. Emma nodded, heart pounding as she approached the desk where her father's old partner sat, an older man with gray hair and keen eyes that held secrets only time could tell. His name was Richard, and he'd been a shadow in her father's life for too long, now stepping into the light just when Emma needed answers. Emma, Richard greeted, his voice gravelly with age and a hint of weariness. Thank you for coming. Let us just get to it, Emma replied, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. You said I should bring someone. What do you have to tell me? Richard's gaze lingered on Sarah for a moment before he gestured for them to take a seat. I appreciate your friend being here. It's always better to share news like this with someone you trust. Emma exchanged a glance with Sarah, their expressions mirroring each other's worries. I'll cut to the chase, Richard began. Your father wasn't just a mechanic. He was deeply involved in something much bigger than I ever let on. Emma's mind raced. Was her father some sort of criminal? Did he have ties to illegal activities? Her stomach churned at the thought. Bigger? Sarah prompted, her voice steady. What do you mean? Richard leaned forward, his elbows resting on the desk, fingers entwined. He took part in a venture that involved several people in difficult situations. He helped them navigate through dangerous waters. Your father was a guardian to those in need, but there were things he didn't want to burden you with. Emma's heart sank. You mean he kept secrets like? He was involved in several cases of financial help but also protection. He was known for fixing more than just engines, Richard continued. The weight of his words seemed to settle in the room, heavy and foreboding. Emma felt anger bubble beneath the surface. Her father had painted himself as the modest mechanic, yet it seemed he'd hidden a life of complexity, perhaps even danger. Why didn't he tell me? Why now? Richard sighed, his expression softening. He wanted to protect you, Emma. The moment he took on those responsibilities, he knew you might be put in danger, too. But there's more. He left something for you, a will linked to his community work. Now Emma was confused. A will? For what exactly? Richard hesitated, gauging her reaction before continuing. Part of it involves a significant amount of money that was saved for people who needed it after his passing, funds that should come to you. Emma's head spun. So I'm supposed to take money from whatever he was involved in? I can't believe this. It's not just about the money, Richard said gently. It's about his legacy, helping others, honoring him. He trusted you to take up his mission. You have a decision to make, Emma. Emma felt tears prickling her eyes. A legacy? What if I don't want that kind of responsibility? Then you'll let it go. But think of all those people he helped. What would he want you to do? Richard's gaze held all the weight of a decision that could change everything. In that moment, under the soft glow of the desk lamp, Emma could feel the weight of her father's choices bearing down on her. The future, the one she thought she understood, now dangled precariously on the edge of uncertainty. As she grappled with what to do next, her phone buzzed again. It was a notification from a news app. Was it going to be more surprises? Or a new chapter revealing her father's hidden life? Emma, Sarah began, her voice a comforting anchor in the storm of emotions. But Emma was already lost in thought. This was just the beginning. What legacy would she choose to embrace? And who else was waiting in the shadows, ready to uncover even more truths about her father's past? Emma could barely breathe. The weight of Richard's revelations settled heavily in her chest. She glanced at Sarah, who wore a look of concern that made Emma realize how much this moment would change everything. But just as their eyes connected, Emma's phone buzzed again, louder this time, snapping her back to the present. With trembling hands, she picked up the phone. The headline was stark. Local mechanic passes, cold case reopened. The article referenced her father's name, his legacy steeped in both community work and unresolved mysteries. Emma felt her heart race. Was this another link to whatever truth had been hidden? Did you know he was involved in anything like this? She blurted, turning to Richard. Richard's expression darkened. He worked hard to protect people, but not everyone saw him that way. There were jealousies, accusations. He was always trying to stay one step ahead of danger. Danger? Emma repeated, her voice shaky. What exactly was he hiding? Before him, there was a case that tied several communities together, a scandal involving misuse of funds, a missing person tied to that scandal. Your father's work was to mend bridges, but some bridges, they were more like traps. Richard ran a hand through his gray hair, the anxiety etched in the lines of his forehead. But if he was innocent, why this? Why not clear his name? Emma was struggling to grasp the disarray of emotions. This wasn't just about the legacy. It was about justice and the truth. Richard sighed deeply, a hint of sadness in his eyes. You'd have to ask him, Emma. But sometimes people don't want to dig too deep. The past can be a dark place, and not all secrets need to be uncovered. Emma frowned. She wanted to scream at the universe for laying this burden upon her. All she wanted was to remember her father as the kind man who fixed cars and made smoothies every Sunday. Now she was tangled in a web of accusations and lost souls. Do I have to pursue this? To wrestle with his ghosts? Emma felt the tears finally spill down her cheeks. The weight felt unbearable. Only if you want to honor him, Richard replied gently. It's your choice to make. If you decide to take up the mantle, it could be for something greater than money. It's about healing a community. That was his life's mission, cleaning up and helping people find their way. Emma nodded slowly, trying to process everything. She couldn't feel anger alone. It simmered with uncertainty. What if I find something I don't want to know? What if he really was involved in something terrible? Then you face it and you decide what to do with that information. Life licenses us to make mistakes, Emma, but it also gives us the power to make things right. Richard's words had an echo of truth that resonated in her heart. Sarah leaned closer, touching Emma's hand. You're not in this alone. We can uncover the truth together. I won't let you take this journey without support. Emma looked from Sarah back to Richard. She felt the stirrings of resolve amidst the storm of grief and confusion. But that flicker was small, and it flickered uncertainly. The stakes were higher than anything she'd imagined, and the risk weighed heavy. With a hesitant breath, Emma typed out a response to the news article on her phone. What kind of man was he really? As she hit send, a ripple of fear and determination coursed through her. In that instant, she understood that diving deeper into her father's legacy meant confronting shadows that might lead her down a path she wasn't sure she was prepared for. But she had already taken the first step. Richard's eyes widened slightly, sensing her commitment. Then let us dig into this together. We can look for the truth, but there's something else you should know. Emma's heart skipped. Something else? What could it be now? As she waited for Richard to elaborate, a sense of urgency crackled in the room. What other secrets lay hidden in the dark? And how far would she go to uncover her father's truth? Richard's gaze turned serious as he leaned in closer, making sure Emma understood the weight of what he was about to say. There are people, he hesitated, searching for the right words, who wouldn't want these truths to come to light. Your father wasn't just protecting his community. He was also protecting himself and you. Emma's heart raced. Protecting us from what? From those who might exploit your father's work for their own gain. There are factions in this town tied to the past that might not appreciate you snooping around. If they perceive you as a threat to their interests, it could get dangerous. Emma's hands shook as she clenched them into fists. She was feeling the gravity of her father's choices crushing her under its weight. Fear mixed with determination inside her. She had to figure out the truth, not just for her father's sake, but for her community, who had relied on the trust he built. She glanced at Sarah, who nodded, a fierce look in her eyes. We'll stand by you. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. Emma inhaled deeply, feeling the warmth of her friend's support seep into her, igniting a small flicker of courage. All right, she declared, let us find out who my father really was. No more running. Richard broke into an encouraging smile. Good. I'll help you piece together what's left of the puzzle. But remember, you'll need to be cautious. Knowledge can be a powerful weapon in the wrong hands. As Emma and Sarah left Richard's office, a sense of purpose washed over them. Emma felt the adrenaline pulse through her veins, a raw, exhilarating determination to dig up the truth, however painful it may be. Over the next few days, they worked tirelessly, poring over old documents, photographs, and any evidence that could illuminate her father's hidden past. Every discovery brought fresh questions and heart-pounding revelations. Together, they turned the dilapidated garage into an information hub, a place not just for repairs, but for learning about the community's rich history. Residents began to come in, motivated not only by curiosity but by Emma's fiery passion. They shared stories, connecting pieces of her father's life to the greater narrative she was weaving. And with each story told, Emma felt her father's spirit alive in those walls again. The community creaked back to life, laughter mingling with the scent of grease and paint. She rallied folks around her, kindling that spark of hope and resilience her father embodied. The garage stood not just as a monument to his memory, but as a vessel of shared journeys and collective healing. In the midst of this resurgence, they unearthed more information about the financial scandal Richard had alluded to. Emma discovered that her father had, indeed, been a guardian angel, fighting on behalf of the townspeople caught in the web of deception. He helped save businesses from collapsing. He fought for the rights of people who felt they had none. Word began to spread about Emma's efforts, and the community rallied behind her, their collective spirit pushing forward. The townsfolk came together for a big event, a celebration of both her father's life and the new chapter brewing within their hearts. On the day of the event, Emma stood at the podium, the community buzzing around her. As she glanced out at the sea of familiar faces, she felt a swell of pride and emotion course through her. She felt her father's watchful presence, guiding her with his unwavering love. "Thank you all for being here," she called out, voice steady, resonating with conviction. "We are here not just to honor my father but to honor each other. His legacy is your legacy. Together, we can ensure a brighter future. Our community can heal every part of it if we work hand in hand." Applause erupted like fireworks, drowning out her fears with waves of support. Hope pulsed through the air, stronger than the laughter that followed. And just as Emma felt the weight lift from her shoulders, a figure stepped forward from the crowd. Mark Thorne, with a solemn look in his eyes. "Emma," he began, his voice firm yet tremulous, "I know I once offered funding, but I also want to offer you something else. The key to what your father built lies not in money, but in unity, and that's something we can all share." The crowd murmured in curious anticipation as Emma's heart soared. She had found a way to weave their stories together, creating a tapestry of resilience that would bring light back into this town's soul. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in radiant hues, Emma looked out, her heart full and her spirit ready. Whatever lay ahead, they were equipped to face it together. It was precisely what her father would have wanted. She felt a joy blooming bright within her, a realization glowing clear. She was not just stepping into a legacy. She was creating one. As the event flowed into another laughter-filled evening, Emma felt alive with hope and determination. But she knew one undeniable truth. The journey was just beginning. This was her moment. This was their moment. And as the night settled in, she understood that they held the power to shape the future. United by the heart of a beloved community, a community molded by love, remembrance, and the indomitable spirit her father had inspired in them all. So now, dear friends, remember the warmth of this story, the hope it brings. You need to subscribe now to catch all the exclusive stories we have coming up. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and let the world see how our journeys change lives. Don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends. Together, we can inspire change, and only the true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel. Let us keep building this story.